Husband who dumped me now pays me not to file for divorce, by user Wintry_myths. My husband of 25 years decided he wanted to split up. I unsuccessfully begged him to change his mind, and spent a lot of nights crying on the bathroom floor. One thing to note is that I carried the health insurance for the family. He is self-employed. When he wouldn't change his mind, we filed for legal separation and he moved out. In the meantime, I got a bangin' new job that covers 100% of the health and dental insurance premiums for the entire family, with a $100 deductible. Sweet. He is still allowed to be on my insurance, since we are legally separated rather than divorced, and it costs me nothing to have him on my insurance. But I am petty as hell. So I charge him $400 a month for something that costs me $0. He of course is welcome to get insurance on his own in the marketplace, which would probably cost at least 2x that amount for an equivalent policy. I make sure he knows it costs me nothing, nada, zip to have him on my insurance, and that his $400/month payment is funding my upcoming trip to Spain. If you have a legal separation, getting a divorce in my state is just a matter of filing a form and paying $60. If I did that, he couldn't be on my insurance anymore. So he is basically paying me $400 a month not to file for divorce, after not wanting to be married anymore. I love it. Edited to respond to comments. This approach was approved by my family law attorney, my estate attorney, his attorney, my health insurance company, and my employer. So if you know better than all those parties combined, have at it. I reported the income to the IRS. People who say things like "but what about alimony," clearly don't understand how any of this works. I can't look at comments anymore, just too many. Karen doesn't like that I removed my rose bushes, so I send her on a goose chase, by user era8_legit. Been going on for a few weeks now. Long story short, I replaced my rose bushes in front of my house. My house, not her house, but my house, you know, the one I own. Anyway, Karen comes over and knocks on my door and tells me she doesn't like that I removed the rose bushes, and I told Karen I don't care. She asked me to clarify what I said and I said I don't give a fuck what you think. Shocked she goes, "You can't speak to me like that," to which I said, "Well, I just did." She goes, "Who do you work for?" Quick thinking I go, "Oh, I work for local HVAC company as a sales manager." She goes, "Oh, that's nice." 2 days later, Karen comes over and tells me that I've never worked for local HVAC company and I'm lying. I smile and go, "Oh, PP's forgot I just changed jobs. I work at local digital ad agency." Karen goes off on her merry little way. 3 days later she comes back and advises me it's a crime to lie to her about where I work at. I laugh. She tells me I'm being super unprofessional. I laugh. Boys, I work for a 100% WFH company that no one has ever heard of, and I haven't updated my LinkedIn since I started my job, not even sure if it would be possible for a regular person to figure out who I work for. I go, "Fine, look, you can go complain to my boss if you want, but I'm the GM at the local Ford dealer." It's been 4 days. No, I don't work at the local Ford dealer. Karen hasn't come back. Sure hope the GM at the local Ford dealer doesn't share a similar name to mine. Be an awful landlord, I'll become your boss's boss, by user Beyond Infinity Beyond. I live in a low-income apartment complex that is part of a housing organization that owns over 500 units in over 20 complexes, and counting, in my area. The property managers have been running wild since COVID. The manager of that department is related to 3 of her direct employees and an awful person. She is a miserable person with serious control issues. She likes to meddle in tenants' personal lives, and when she doesn't get what she wants will threaten eviction. I'm not entirely sure what I did to get on their bad side, but property manager boss, who I will refer to as Anus Face, has had issues with me for a couple of years. About a year and a half ago I walked out of my apartment to find a tow notice on my car. After doing a little research I found out that the apartment complex was illegally towing vehicles by not giving proper notice. I reached out to a friend in tears and she reached out to some local city officials and I was able to save my car from being towed, but this just infuriated Anus Face more. She made it her goal to invade my personal life for her weird jollies. So I got together with some other tenants and officially starting taking steps to begin a tenant union. About 4 months into my efforts I found out that I had very early stage cancer that was able to be treated with surgery. I also had a very traumatic event happened in my home that required biohazard cleanup. Because of these events I had to step back from organizing tenants. I have been told by a former employee that the property manager was happy that I was incapable of continuing my organizing efforts because of my health issues. After I stepped down, someone else took on a leadership role and they were able to get community members to come together and start a coup. We rolled into the annual meeting where board elections are held 30 deep. We were able to get myself and a few other tenants elected to the board that night. The board is the organization's director's boss. I am now Anus Face's boss's boss. I just sent off an email to the director chair and CO chair detailing how Anus Face is committing fraud. Edit to add, I become a member of the board for the organization and continue to work with the tenant union. Never be an asshole to a really rich guy, by user Clean and Clever. I was reminded of this story from another post asking about things seen by the super rich. I worked at a marina where there were condos along the side. A client of ours talked to us about a slip directly in front of one vacant condo to keep his boat. It was a pretty tight-knit community and we talked to the guy renting that slip about moving to another and he had no problem. Great. Until the guy went to talk to the manager of the condos about the renting the vacant one. The manager of the condos was known for being a bit of a dick, but no one thought he would actively be one to this guy for no apparent reason. He said someone else was waiting for that particular condo and he could not have it. Well, this guy wanting to rent it would have normally had no issue with moving to one a bit further away from his boat, but apparently this manager was just a straight-up dickhead. I honestly forgot about it until about a month later when I saw him moving into the condo directly in front of his boat. I was a bit surprised and I asked my boss about it, figuring the manager finally gave in or the ones who reserved it backed out. Oh, but no. For the petty revenge. My boss tells me the guy was pissed. So he found out who the organization that owned the condos was, and bought the whole complex, then promptly firing the manager. I talked to him a few weeks later over beers and asked him about it. He said it was true. I asked him why he just didn't talk to the investment firm and get the guy fired. He said he was going to but still wanted the condo, and once going over the financials he realized he had a good return on investment. Plus he then had the opportunity to do upgrades he would not have been able to by renting. He was a really nice guy. I never imagined someone would go through all that just to spite an asshole, but there you are. Moral of the story is to never piss off a man with enough money and will to buy a whole company just to fire you. My mom found out, by user Lucifer91. It's kind of a long story, but when I got into college, as the first person in my family to make it there, my cousin decided that it was her place to tell me that I would fail out and get pregnant and have to move back in with my parents. She was a little jealous. But that's whatever. I called her a bitch, we argued and stopped talking for a while. After a while she started messaging me asking if I have failed yet or if I was dropping out. I decided at that moment to just piss her off a bit. See, she hates clowns, not terrified or any phobias, but she hates them. So every year for the past 11 years I have picked a random day in a different month to send her a box of clown stuff, all with no return address. She has no idea. My partner has known and loves this, but my cousin is so confused on to how this keeps happening. Well, this year marks the 12th box and I don't know if I want to continue this after or let it end. But I was talking to my mom and mentioned that it was that time again and I forgot I never told her what I had been doing. She laughed but thinks it was so wrong, but I'm still okay with it.